Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. Today, we are exploring some of the funniest, like, most unforgettable moments from Friends.
Yeah, we're really looking at a collection of pure chaos, just hilarious misunderstandings, and that classic comedy that, only the specific group could create.
Exactly, because if you were to design a machine specifically to create chaos, you would probably build 6 highly neurotic personality types, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You'd put them in a Manhattan apartment and
Well,
just completely remove any standard sense of conflict resolution. You wouldn't design a logical system at all.
no, you would design a pressure cooker of petty grievances, massive egos, and deep-seated insecurities.
Yeah.
And, well, you would end up with a cultural phenomenon because human relationships are really rarely rational. We operate on emotion and, pure absurdity most of the time.
Right. So today, our mission is to explore the anatomy of that sitcom chaos. We're looking at a curated stack of notes and recaps outlining these defining moments.
But if you're listening to this, you already know the characters, you probably have the punchlines memorized.
Oh, for sure. So the goal here isn't just to list funny scenes. We want to understand why this specific brand of relentless stubbornness creates such unforgettable television.
We want to find the architectural blueprint of why it works so perfectly.
Okay, let's unpack this because we really have to start with one of the most legendary battles in the show's history.
Oh, I know exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah, it perfectly illustrates how mundane situations just explode. We're talking about Joey and Chandler's chair war.
Right. What's fascinating here is the sheer psychological bypass that happens. I mean, it begins as a simple argument over a comfortable chair.
Which is something, any of you listening have probably fought over with a sibling or roommate.
Exactly. But Joey decides to escalate by stealing the chair cushions. He literally removes the comfort from the chair entirely.
He defeats the whole functional purpose of the furniture, just to deny Chandler a victory.
Yeah, it ceases to be about comfort and instantly becomes about dominance. He introduces this level of petty sabotage that just demands a disproportionate response.
Which brings us to the retaliation. Because Chandler doesn't try to find the cushions. He doesn't negotiate.
No, he bypasses the furniture entirely and steals Joey's clothes.
Right, and then we get the climax of this ridiculous competition. Chandler walks in wearing nearly everything Joey owns.
All at once.
Yeah, layers upon layers of shirts and ties, delivering that iconic line like, could I be wearing any more clothes?
It's so good. But the comedy isn't just the visual gag of a man severely restricted by, 50 pounds of cotton.
Right, it's deeper than that.
It's derived from absurd escalation. They've totally violated the agreed-upon boundaries of a normal roommate spat.
I look at it as a comedic arms race. It's this stubbornness where the only rule they've agreed on is mutually assured destruction.
Yeah, in a standard arms race, the original conflict gets lost. Joey wanted to sit down. Chandler wanted to sit down.
And neither of them get to. Chandler is sweating to death, and Joey's having a full-blown wardrobe crisis.
They both completely lose the war while refusing to admit defeat in the battle.
Wow, yeah, they just keep doubling down. And that physical escalation naturally transitions into something else our sources highlight.
Right, we move from physical bluffing, like literally making yourself larger with clothing, to psychological bluffing.
The delusion of confidence.
Yes, it's a recurring device where the characters try desperately to project an image of total control, but they just fail spectacularly.
The sources actually give us 3 great examples of this. First, while Joey is dealing with his missing clothes, Ross decides to prove he is impossible to embarrass.
Which is just a terrible idea.
Oh, it's basically signing a contract guaranteeing your immediate humiliation. His attempts to look confident only manufacture awkward, hilarious situations.
And everyone else ends up laughing at him.
Meanwhile, Joey is on this totally different journey of bluffing. He tries to find a real job and pretends to be a professional processor.
Right, a professional processor, a title that means absolutely nothing to him.
Nothing. He has no idea what a processor does.
But thanks to Chandler's advice, Joey constructs this facade. He acts like he knows exactly what he's doing, bluffing through office conversations.
It's pure comedy gold.
Yeah.
And then there's Ross's strangest obsession, Unagi.
Ah, yes. The pursuit of total awareness.
He becomes convinced that true self-defense comes from achieving this state of Unagi. And Rachel and Phoebe are just so unimpressed.
They refuse to take him seriously at all.
Which prompts Ross to stage these ridiculous surprise attacks to prove his mastery. But here's where it gets really interesting, and I want to push back on this a bit.
Oh, I'm listening.
So we have Ross trying not to be embarrassed, Joey pretending to be a processor, and Ross with Unagi. Is the comedy really derived from the same
What
place?
do you mean?
Well, Joey knows he's faking it, right? He's sweating through imposter syndrome. But Ross genuinely believes he has Unagi. He has this absolute delusional certainty.
Okay, I see your point about their internal awareness being vastly different.
Yeah, so does it work the same way comedically?
Structurally, yes. The sitcom treats them as the exact same crime. It is ego outstripping capability.
Interesting. Walk me through that.
Well, the internal motivation might differ, but the comedy lives in the massive gap between their perceived competence and actual cluelessness.
Okay, that makes sense.
Think about it. Have you ever, nodded solemnly through a professional meeting where you didn't understand a single acronym?
Oh, absolutely. More times than I admit, you just arrange your face into a mask of deep comprehension.
Right, you're projecting a false reality. Joey bluffing about processing data relies on the exact same tension as Ross whispering, Unagi.
Oh, I see. It's the moment the bubble bursts.
Exactly. The harder they try to maintain the illusion, the more kinetic energy builds for the inevitable crash. We are laughing at a collapsing ego.
That's a great way to phrase it. The sincerity of the attempt makes the failure so satisfying.
Totally.
Which brings us to a crucial pivot in our sources. Because you can't just have a show entirely about collapsing egos. It gets exhausting.
You need a tonal duality.
Right. And our sources point out how the show contrasts absolute physical chaos with a really deep emotional core.
The intersection where slapstick meets sincerity.
Yeah. And the ultimate example of the physical chaos here is Joey somehow getting a raw Thanksgiving turkey stuck on his head.
Which happens while he's just trying to scare Chandler.
The physical reality of that is unhinged. A grown man blind with his head encased in raw poultry.
It borders on surrealism.
But the reactions are what ground it. Monica is genuinely horrified. Chandler can't stop laughing. And Joey just makes it worse by flailing around.
It's the absolute pinnacle of physical absurdity.
But then our sources immediately contrast this turkey disaster with Chandler and Monica facing a pregnancy scare.
A storyline with profound life-altering weight.
Exactly. It starts as sheer panic about an unplanned future. But the narrative slowly turns into this really sweet, quiet excitement.
They drop their defenses. Chandler drops the sarcasm. Monica drops the need for control.
It reveals their true feelings about starting a family together. It's incredibly tender.
This raises an important question, though. How does a show balance such extreme ends of the spectrum?
Yeah, going from a guy with a dead bird on his head to grappling with creating human life.
Right. Because in lesser hands, it would feel like two different shows spliced together.
So how do they pull it off?
It works because of narrative anchoring. The raw emotional honesty of the pregnancy scare is the structural gravity.
It grounds the ridiculousness.
Exactly. It prevents the show from feeling like an unmoored cartoon. It provides permission for the turkey incident to exist.
So if they didn't have real pain or real love, they'd just be joke delivery mechanisms.
Yes. If characters don't experience real human emotion, the stakes vanish. You stop caring what happens to them.
Because nothing has permanent consequences.
But when we see Chandler and Monica genuinely want a family, it establishes a baseline of humanity. We willingly suspend our disbelief for the slapstick.
The sincerity earns the slapstick. I love that. The vulnerability is the tether.
Yeah, it holds it all together.
And looking at the final section of our sources, this mix of chaos and connection culminates in a recurring theme: accidental success.
Right, where their worst impulses inadvertently generate the perfect outcomes.
Specifically, terrible matchmaking. Joey accidentally sets Ross up with his absolute perfect woman.
And the irony is, Joey does this while trying to do the exact opposite.
He is actively trying to ruin a date. As usual, his plans don't go the way he expects.
He engineers a disaster, but the disaster yields a perfect romantic match. It's the ultimate subversion of intention.
So what does this all mean? When you look at Joey trying to ruin a date and finding Ross a perfect match, it feels like a metaphor for the whole show.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it perfectly encapsulates why the show works. Every character brings their own volatile brand of chaos.
Yeah, Ross has his neurotic need for dominance with Unagi. Joey has his confident cluelessness.
Chandler brings defensive sarcasm. Monica brings her paralyzing need for control.
On paper, you would assume that combination would just be a toxic explosion.
But the friction between their different types of chaos is exactly what generates the warmth.
Wow. The collective shortcomings interlock to form a complete system.
The matchmaking works because Joey is terrible at it, and the group works because they are deeply flawed.
We've really deconstructed some amazing mechanics today. We went from the escalation of pettiness with the chair battles,
proving that pride overrides logic when the stakes are low enough.
exactly, to the delusion of confidence with the Unagi lessons and the office bluffing.
Where we saw how projected authority clashing with actual cluelessness creates that perfect comedic tension.
And then the tonal pendulum. Seeing how the sincerity of relationship surprises grounds the pure slapstick of turkey disasters.
It really is a masterclass in narrative design.
It truly is. These moments capture why it remains one of the funniest sitcoms ever created. If you, listening right now, enjoyed reliving these classic moments,
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
yes, and drop a comment letting us know which specific scene was your absolute favorite. We love hearing your takes.
It's always fascinating to see which of these mechanisms resonates the most with you guys.
But before we sign off on this recap, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We talk a lot about blueprints and structural logic today.
Right, analyzing all their disasters and miscalculations.
In a traditional blueprint, those disasters would be stress fractures. They'd cause the building to collapse.
They'd tear a normal friend group apart.
But for this group, it doesn't. So I want you to consider, what if their shared chaos isn't a flaw in their design at all?
Oh, that's an interesting angle.
What if the willingness to engage in a clothing arms race or endure surprise karate attacks is actually the mortar holding the bricks
The
together?
very glue that binds their friendship.
Exactly. Keep that in mind the next time you find yourself locked in a stubborn, unwinnable argument over the good chair in your apartment. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you on the next deep dive.